his truthfulness, Lord. And he's never pretended to be something he's not, but he's always strived to be more than he is. So I thank you for your relationship with him and his relationship with you. In Jesus Christ's mighty name, amen.
Amen.
There you go.
Thank you. How you guys doing tonight? All right, I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm so proud of every one of you. You know, I know what it's like to be in treatment. I've been several times, and I know what it's like to be away from your friends and your family and stuff like that. So, you know, I commend all of you for where you're at. Just like when you guys are in treatment, stick together, you know, because this disease, I mean, cunning, baffling, and powerful, you know, we fight every day for our lives, so it's a miracle that each one of us are here today, you know. And my story's a little gutter. Hope I don't offend nobody. It's not an NA meeting, so I don't have to cover up no words. You know what I'm saying? I could say exactly what I mean. And also, you know, it's a miracle that I'm standing here today to tell you guys. All right, I was born in Long Beach, California, right next to Compton. You know, I have two brothers. I got an older brother and a younger brother, real close in age. Me and my older brother, I think 18 months. Me and my little brother are 2 years apart. We grew up in a real violent community. You know, it was gang related. A lot of murders going on at that time. It was in the 80s. So there's a lot of murders, a lot of drive-bys, and there was a lot of stuff going on at that time in the 80s, right after the riots in Watts. Then we had the riots again, the LA riots. So Compton, LA, Long Beach, all that was pretty bad at the time. And so we lived in, I wouldn't say like a low budget, but like it was right down the street from the ghetto. Growing up, I don't know if it was a middle child syndrome or what, but I always felt out of place. I always felt awkward within my family, like I didn't belong for some reason. And then when I went to school, I definitely felt like I didn't belong because there was so many ethnicities. There was Spanish, there was Asian, there was Samoans, there was black, and they all stuck together. You know, and the whites kind of just did their own little thing. So I didn't fit in anywhere I went. My parents both worked full-time jobs to support our family. So at an early age, we were left alone a lot. I remember we'd wake up for school, alarm would go off, our cereal would already be poured for all of us. Eat our cereal, watch some cartoons, another alarm would go off, and we walk to school. So I got hip at an early age. I was like 6 or 7, and I figured if I didn't want to go to school, I didn't have to. So I started walking, fake like I left my book bag, and turned around and went home. While I was at home, I was in the bathroom, and we have a laundry room right behind our bathroom, and I heard the chimes going crazy that we have in the doorway. So I stood on the tub, looked through the glass, and I could see a dark figure coming in my house. And oh man, I'm supposed to be at school right now. I got someone breaking in my house. Like, I'm 6 years old. So I locked myself in the bathroom and hyperventilating. I was in there, I felt like hours, it's probably a couple moments. So I got enough nerves to unlock the door, shoot out. When I did, dude grabbed me and wrapped his hand around my neck, but I was able to get away, break out the front door. And I could have went to the across the street, but I was so freaked out. Supposed to be at school, that's where I ran all the way to school. It's probably a mile, maybe 2. Go in there, hyperventilating, can't even speak. Teacher sends me to the principal's office, and he calls my mother, and then also calls the cops. So me being with cops and seeing in movies, I think, you know, when they're gonna hunt this guy down, get the canines and go get him, you know, lock him up. It was nothing like that. I get home, they're making a joke about it. You know, this is my safe house that was just broken into, and I was almost, who knows what would happen to me? And these cops are saying provocative comments about my mother, and I mean, I'm 6 years old. Like, they act like I wasn't there. So then, right there, from an early age, I did not have no respect for police officers. And then, like later on in life, the lifestyle we lived, I mean, it totally carried into that. My older brother, starting junior high. Junior high was 6th, 7th, and 8th, but it was right in front of the projects. So kids were getting killed during PE from drive-by shootings and stuff. So we moved to Riverside, California, which is like the suburbs. Norco, Corona, the Inland Empire. Finished elementary school, went to junior high, and in junior high, I only had like three friends, and one of them, I swear, was a guy that wasn't even out of the closet yet, right? But those were like the only the only three people that hang out with me. Like, I was just an awkward kid, had Coke bottle glasses, and it wasn't like I got bullied or nothing. I was just invincible, no one ever noticed me. When I was in junior high going to high school, we found some of my parents' weed and got the neighborhood kids together, smoked that. Well, then these kids wanted to hang out with me then. So a couple months later, it was summer break, found a kid that I knew had some meth. I was always younger for my age in school, so I think I was 14 going into high school, maybe even 13. 13, because I would have been 17 when I graduated. So did that, and right then and there, it's like it took everything away. That any kind of fear I had, anything, my awkwardness, anything, took it all away. I was able to talk to people. I was able to hang out with people. Totally switched crowds. Now I had a clique to hang out with. By the time I started school, I was that freshman that was going to senior parties, had varsity cheerleaders talking to me. Like, in 12 months, my life totally changed around, and that's what I needed at the time. That was like an ego boost for me, and it was due to drugs, It was really acceptance is what I was looking for in life, and I found that with drugs. That carried all the way. Well, with the drugs came behavioral problems automatically. Disrespecting my teachers. At home, wouldn't behave to my parents. My parents really looked into trying to give me up for adoption when I was like 14. And I don't even know if you can do that. Can you? No, it took me. But I got kicked out of my normal high school, had to go to a continuation school, and it was like 3 counties of all bad kids in one school now. And then my little skater self, all these other guys were like gang related, tattooed, cholas, like gangsters pretty much. And it was only from like 8 to 12. Well, I decided to get some people together. We drank a little bit and went back to our old high school that we got kicked out of. Well, we got arrested for that. Got brought home, and I always heard war stories about my mother's stepmother, so it would have been my step-grandmother. Ooh, I was a little tipsy, and I threw in her face, "I'd rather live with her than you anyhow." 5 hours later, I was on a plane to St. Louis, Missouri, by myself, hungover. I get to St. Louis, move in with my step-grandmother. She enrolled me in school. First, my mom sent her some money, and this lady took me to Walmart to buy my school clothes, which at a 14-year-old at that time, come on now. And not only that, she despised my name, so she enrolled me as my middle name, Lee, which my real name, Chevy. So not only am I the new kid at a new school in a new state with a new name, I was definitely out of place. Started arguing with her about a month into it and ran away. She found out where I was 3 days later. Cops come to the front door. I go out the back. Jump a fence, which I thought was like 5 foot tall. It was 10-foot drop. Snapped my ankle. So I get my step-grandmother didn't take me to the hospital for 3 days because she was afraid I was she'd have to pay the bill, So at school, she just gave me crutches, sent me to school. I went to the nurse. Nurse said that she's gonna call child services if they don't take me to the hospital. She waited till the next day and took me. Got a phone call when I was in the hospital. My parents coming out of St. Louis. I'm like, great. It took them long enough to come get me. They're in a U-Haul moving to St. Louis. I hated the town. I hated the people. I hated their accents. I hated the way they acted. I did. Like, y'all, I'm getting used to it now in Tennessee, but everybody, like, it was just different. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't home, I was homesick. Finally, my parents come out here, and I guess I had to make home in St. Louis. At 16 in high school, it was easier for me to get with the bad kids and act a class clown than it was to actually introduce myself and get to know the real me to make friends, So I just wilded out. I 17 years old, met a dude. He was selling some weed, so I wanted to jump on the bandwagon. That turned out to be a very profitable business, you know. At 18, I was like not trying to, I had 50 kilos coming from Texas at 18 years old a month. It became a family business. Not only was it me, it was my brother, it was my parents as well. Like basically mom's house was a stash house. With all this money, all I did is party and clubbed, you know, and I met some girls and we all went up to Chicago for a rave. When I got mixed up in the rave scene, that's what I've been looking for my whole life, you know? It was like the millennial hippies. Like it was no alcohol there. It was all about club drugs and peace, love, back rubs, and, you know, glow sticks. It was a great time. That not only was my life, that was my livelihood, that was my income, that was everything. We chased the raves the whole Midwest, all the way to the West and up north. I mean, I don't think none was down here in the South. I don't know, it might have been. But anyhow, that lasted like 3 or 4 years. When that died off, I think heroin had a lot to do with it, the heroin epidemic. It's back in 99, 98, 2000, 2001. All the ravers that I hung out with got on heroin. But to me, that word alone, heroin, was scary, you know? I didn't want nothing to do with it. Because I was, I guess, successfully using, you know, at the time. I don't know what successfully using is, but I was getting away with it. You know, no repercussions, nothing. And me and a buddy Scott, my best friend, we got a house together. And Scott was a year younger than me. He was 18, so he knew a lot of kids from high school, and we would just all party. Scott met up with this girl, and we went to her house for a party. Well, me and Scott were wrestling, and I slammed him into the table. There was like, don't invite us to a party, because we came like 15, 20 deep. There were some other kids there, like 3 or 4 older guys that we didn't even know. And I broke a table with Scott, threw Scott into it, broke it. And these whoever they were, started talking crap. So, you know, the crap talking, wound up taking it outside. One guy took a liking to me for some reason and badmouthed me the whole way out. So I'm like, okay, when we get outside, I turned around and he pulled a pistol out from behind his shirt, and it was going up, and I just saw Scott, and I heard a bang. I saw Scott's head jack back, and I caught him in midair, and I'm holding my buddy, you know, and he has my arm like this, and he's trying to say something, and he's gargling, you know, and I tell him, I was like, Scott, stay with me, and I'm screaming, and call the paramedics. I'm telling Scott, calm down, bud. Cops are on their way, the paramedics are on their way, it's gonna be okay. He gargled one last time, and his life has left his body, you know. I had blood all over me. I just went straight back to our house and fell asleep on the couch, and the girl I was dating at the time walked in the house and started screaming when she saw me. She thought I got shot. I walked in with blood on me still, walked in Scott's bedroom. I don't know if I was going to look for him, trying to get him, or what, but he wasn't there. That's when it kind of hit me. I stayed in bed for 3 days. We had his viewing and his funeral. And with us being so young, we had a lot of friends in high school still, so they came out to his funeral. We had the viewing, the funeral, and then we had you know what kids do, we party in memory of our friend, you know? So we had 3 or 4 hotel rooms, and I heard some guys were doing heroin, or they were on heroin, but I was just drinking. I walked in another room to these other cats, and there was like 4 or 5 of them huddling around the TV stand. I walk up, and they're drawing something up in a spoon. I was like, what is that? They're like, it's heroin. And they're like, this one's for you, you know, and held up a rig. I'm like, whatever. But the more I drank, I just finally said, here, I never put a needle in my arm, never done the drug before. And then so I just stuck my arm out and they hit me with it. All the weight I had on my shoulders, knowing that, I don't know if Scott took that bullet for me or if he accidentally caught it for me. You know what I'm saying? All I know is he's gone and I'm still here. That weighed on me a lot. When I did that drug, that was like what I needed at that moment. That took anything, any emotion, feeling, fear, sadness, depression, took it all away right then and there. I didn't even like it physically, but emotionally, it kidnapped me, you know? Within 2 months, I was a full-blown junkie. Within 4 months, I done blew all my money I had, and now the guys I used to front, I'm robbing. When that wore off, I tried to get help, but help to me was the methadone clinic. Because I didn't want to go to rehab, you know, I don't want to kick. So went to the methadone clinic. All that did is introduce me to more drugs, different drugs, other stuff, you know, amphetamines, methamphetamines, all that. Got with a different crowd and started doing speed, started making speed. You know, I was cooking red and black, and then I was up all week, and I was doing what dope fiends do when we don't have no money. I was out shoplifting, pulling gift card scams, taking that to the dope man. You know what we do, pulling returns and credit card fraud, and you know, that's what I was doing. Well, I was at Walmart, they caught on to me, called the cops. I walked out front, I see the cops by my truck. I just walked right past them nonchalantly, jump in my truck, started up, reversed it. I hear a hey, and I saw it was a cop walking up to my truck, so I drove off. He ran up to my truck and jumped in my window. So now we're fighting for my keys, going probably 8 miles an hour. Let him tell it I drug him from Home Depot to IHOP. Real talk. But as soon as he noticed he was going, you know, away from his car, he jumped off and ran back to his car, and then the chase was on, you know, because there goes my lack of respect for any kind of authority figure, not only law enforcement, no one's going to tell me what to do when I'm in the midst of my addiction. You know, I'm a monster. So I took him on a high-speed chase. I was driving erratic. Rush hour morning traffic. What was I doing at 7:30 in the morning pulling that stuff, you know? Rush hour morning traffic, so I'm going oncoming traffic. I'm going on the shoulder. I'm trying to hit the highway. I'm all over the place, you know? Lasted probably 20 minutes. I didn't touch nobody. I didn't hit nobody. I mean, I very well could have. They finally blocked the whole road off. So I decided to go around them in someone's front yard. Got blocked in. Put in reverse. I lied, I did hit a car. Put in reverse. Ran into a cop. When they did that, they all jumped out with their guns drawn. Expected. I've been in chases before, you know. Come get me. Put in park, waiting for them. There's a cop walked in between both of our vehicles, and he's staring at my passenger front tire. I'm kind of wondering, what is he staring at? What's down there? He starts shooting it. When he started shooting it, it was like, that set 4 of the cops off to start shooting as well. They shot my tires out. So I'm sitting there kind of thinking, this is a little excessive, you know? I already gave up. So I'm sitting there, and he walks, after he gets done shooting my front tire, he walks up, and I see a flash and hear a pow, pow, pow. I'm like, my chest went on fire, and I couldn't breathe. I knew I got shot. Took the breath right out of me. It was like I got hit in the chest with a 2x4. I looked down and see a trickle of blood coming out of my white t-shirt. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was an accident. Like, accidentally shot me 3 times. I'm slumped over, and he's not even giving me any instructions, no directions, nothing. I'm slumped over my passenger side, and I just get rained with glass. This cop breaks out my driver's side window. He shoots me 2 more times. So now here I am, shot a total of 5 times with a .40 caliber by 2 different officers. So I didn't know whether to lay up in my seat or face the music. So I'm kind of just like going back and forth. And finally, I just opened my door and I slumped out. Well, they didn't have no mercy on me. I guess they thought I was a threat. They dragged me in the middle of the street, and I had a cop on each limb, my neck, my back. They were on me, cuffed me up. It was weird because, like, I started going blind. My vision started getting cloudy, but my hearing intensified. I could hear boots from the cops running to the scene. I could hear their radios. I could hear their sirens. I could hear a chopper above us. And then all of a sudden, I'm not sure how long I was laying there, someone turned me over, and I'm staring at the sky, and I see a silhouette of somebody, and they asked me, "Are you okay?" Well, my first response is, "Are you a cop?" You know? And he's like, "No, I'm EMT." So I was like, "Well, I'm shot." He said something, "I'll take care of you, you're gonna be okay," or something. I fell out. My next memory's in the ambulance. My throat was burning for some reason. I couldn't figure it out. My throat was burning and something kept hitting me in the forehead. I opened up my eyes and there was a guy above me in an EMT uniform calling my name, "Chevy, Chevy. Hold on, buddy, hold on. Just stay with me, Chevy." And I'm kind of figuring, like, how does this guy know me? And I tried to say something, and I realized I had a tube down my throat. So I grabbed the tube, yanked it out, and fell back out. I didn't know at this time, but I found out about 4 years later, that guy, the EMT, was this guy named Brian. 10 years before this, him and I and about 4 other kids, we were 16 at the time, were all drinking at a place called Stairway to Heaven, which is this big staircase up to this mansion with no rails. Thank you. With no rails. And we're all drinking. This guy thought it was a good idea to lay on the train tracks. All of our friends couldn't talk him off of them, you know, and a train started coming. So I ran over there and put him in a chokehold and pulled him off the train tracks where the train came. Here he is 10 years later in the ambulance with me, saving my life. You know, I mean, tell me God's not real. So I wake up about, I think it was 10 days later. Got my baby mama in my face crying with all these charges. I look around the room. I'm hooked up to every machine in there. I got a tube down my throat. I got a tube in my chest where my lung got punctured. So yeah, when I got shot, it hit my lung, my liver, my diaphragm, my small intestine, missed my heart by 2 centimeters, I think they said. So I wake up, she's crying in my face, and I couldn't talk. I had a tube down my throat. So, you know, I asked for a pen and paper. There was a cop in the room, nurse in the room, my mom, my kid's mom. So everybody's shuffling to get me a piece of paper and a pen, like I was going to write some amazing stuff, right? I got my piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote, "I'm on 80 milligrams of methadone." Dope fiend, right? So the nurse rushed and got me my methadone. I mean, not like I wasn't already on enough stuff, you know, being a gunshot victim. I was in the hospital for about 2 more weeks. St. Louis County got custody of me. I got charged with 4 counts of attempted murder and 4 armed criminal actions. I had 8 Class A felonies. Each felony was a minimum of 10 to life, and I had 8 of them. So I get to jail. I've never been in a jail cell before. Never. I've been in a holding cell once because my kid's mom wrote a bad check in my name, and I got charged for it because it was in my name. But that was it. So when I get to jail, they don't take me just to jail. I go to the infirmary, which is the hospital of the jail. So it's basically solitary confinement, except I get a nurse come around every 5 hours to take my vitals. when those doors close, not only did the sickness kick in, the loneliness, desperation, evaluating my life. Where did I go wrong? You know, if Scott was still here, I wouldn't have this problem. If I would have pulled over, I wouldn't have this problem. If the cops would have just killed me, I wouldn't have this problem. So many thoughts go through your head. And I had to have the nurses and doctors come in every day, because I had 3 bullet holes that were holes, and pack it with zero gauze, which looks like shoestring. Right? Pull the old stuff out and pack the new stuff in all my holes. About a month into it, I still haven't got any sleep at all. Maybe a couple cat naps, that's it. I go to court. Judge says, sir, with your charges, you'll be lucky if you ever see the streets. And then they take me to the hospital because I had like a monthly checkup. When I went to the hospital, I'm in a belly chain, shackles, and cuffs, like in the black box, you know. So 2 armed guards, 2 armed correction officers take me to the hospital and put me in a wheelchair and wheel me in. Not only did I just get the news I'm probably never going to see the streets ever again, people in the hospital are pushing the walls as I come by, like I'm Hannibal Lecter. I mean, I felt this big at that moment. A lady, we got on the elevator, they backed me up, so I'm facing the door. Some lady yelled, hold the door for me. So I put my leg up, and my shackles clinked the metal of the elevator, the bottom rail there, and she's like, oh no, we'll take the next one. I didn't think I was that bad of a dude, you know, but I mean, I guess I looked pretty terrible. I guess I looked pretty gangster at the time. But my mom sold her dream home and got me a lawyer, which cost $30,000. I got them from, their first offer was 30 years at 85%, down to 15, 9, and 7. When I got that 7, I did a dance leaving that courtroom back to my cell. You know, when the bus got there a couple days later and I'm on my way to the penitentiary, I walk up, or we drive up to this architectural beast of a building, you know, with all these rows of fences, barbed wire, gun tower, armed guards on top of the gun tower. I was like, what am I getting myself into? Bus drives right on the yard and stops. So all the inmates, now if that wasn't tuning up, I got 1,500 dudes out here. It's me against them, you know? So I get off the bus, I'm wearing all orange and all activity stopped. There's no handball, there's no weights being lifted, there's no basketball. Everybody's running up to the line. I'm a pretty cool dude, you know? So I made my way through. I did 4 years on the 7, made parole. I got out, hit the ground running. Then 6 months, I had my own place. I was in college, had a car I was paying for, going to the gym. I mean, life was good. Hurt my back at work, got some pain pills from the doctor. As soon as that was out, got me permission to go back to my drug of choice. Needless to say, in 1 year, I was back in prison for my second time. So the first time I hit the ground running, the second time was pretty much of a blow to the ego. I got out after doing a year on my bit, killed my bit, got out off parole. My mother done moved here. I didn't have family that I could go back to. I done got my dad too many times. Old friends were still there, because 4 years was enough time to like let everyone else die off. A year, I got out, went right back to cooking meth to support my heroin habit. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, shaking a bottle down the highway while driving. All of a sudden, boom! While I'm driving, a bottle blows up on me. My face is burning, my arms are burning, I have chemical burns on my back. And all the money I had was invested in that, except for like $40 in my pocket. So I didn't even clean up, went right to the dope man to get some more dope. Called my mom. She came from Tennessee and picked me up. I came here. I was good for about another year, same thing. Got in a motorcycle accident out here, got pain pills, back to my drug of choice. That lasted on and off. I was in a relationship at the time. It ruined my relationship. I literally came to meetings to try to save that relationship. Got into it. First, all I knew was AA, went there. Then they told me about NA here in Lewisburg. And then I came to this church. Pastor John, everyone saw me struggle in and out of this place, you know. When is it? February 2017, me and my BFF here got baptized right here in this tub. Then I still kept struggling. Mary told me she was pregnant. A week after she was pregnant, or after I found out, lost my job. What do? Go back to my drug of choice. So, you know, relapse and me are like BFFs. Let me see here. After I found out and I relapsed, you would think that would get you together, that would straighten you up. But that drove me further into my addiction. Knowing I had this little human that I was going to take care of, man, I just got high over it, you know. The next thing you know, Mary's the only one working. I'm going up to her work. She's getting cash tips. And I'm taking her money so I can go get high. I got to pick her up at 8:30. I go to the gas station at 8 o'clock, do some of my drugs. And I wake up midnight in the hospital with 3 cops in my room. I'm like, this is too familiar. I OD'd. Got hit with Narcan twice on the way there. Go to jail for a week. Talking to Mary, telling, you know, get my bail money, blah, 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 all that jazz. Well, I sat there. I was really done at that time. Like, I was like, oh my, I can't keep doing this to myself. I got this girl, I got this baby, what am I doing to myself? You know, my problem was I didn't think I was good enough to get right, to have a good life. My depression, my ego, I was this big, you know. I didn't deserve that stuff. Sitting in jail, I was content with it. Not because I'm familiar with it, because it was so much better than the chaos I was running last week. You know, I get home. Before I went to jail, my daughter, I have a 13-year-old daughter, was counting down 99 days till she came and saw me. The day I got high and fell out, I think it was like 8 days left. I'm like, I'm going to be in here when she comes visits. Well, I bought it out at 7 days. So I'm up in my room. Daughter comes about midnight. Go downstairs, kiss her, hug her, tell her I love her, put her in bed. I go upstairs. It really dawns on me that the only reason that this child's coming into this world and the daughter downstairs in this world is because of my decisions, because of my selfish acts. You know, they need a father. My other daughter doesn't even know me because I was either in prison or high. You know, she knows nothing but disappointments through me. I didn't want this one too. So this time I said a different prayer. I didn't ask God for anything. Lord, give me a job. Lord, give me this. Lord, you know the reason that I'm here. You know the reason that I'm here better than I do. I don't even know why I'm here. Lord, show me the reason for my being. I laid down next to Mary, and that little girl started kicking up against my arm. And right then told me that my life isn't supposed to be, you know, I always thought my life was supposed to be glamorous and I was supposed to be, you know, this big shot, this and that. No, I'm just supposed to be a good father, son, boyfriend, friend, just be a good man. You know, that's the reason that I'm here. I didn't use a drug or a drink since I went to jail. My daughter that was down here came to church with me on Sunday. Wednesday night, me and Pastor John baptized my daughter right here in this tub, you know. And I mean, life is just wonderful. I can't say it's wonderful. It's still a struggle, but it's way better than it was. You know, right after that, a job kind of fell into my lap. You know, Mary doesn't have to work. I got a full-time job. We just got a house last month. You know, God's great. And my problem was I always talked or just put action to it. But if you just put action to it, it's just a minimal fix. You know what I'm saying? You got to change your whole thought process so your actions will follow. You know, I love each and every one of you, and thank you for letting me share.
Preacher man. Awful comfortable up here, bro.
I'm hot.
That's right. Father, thank you.
Yeah, Pastor John knows.
Amen. Thank you so much. Father, thank you for this man. Thank you for his faithfulness. Thank you, Father, that he just never gave up, that he just kept moving forward and believing, and finally came to a place where opened up his life to you and let you transform him. Thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Love you, little brother. Love you guys.
All right. Okay, we got a couple people who want to be baptized. Woo.